Hi all. There's a lot of things in Robopack that really impresses me. There's a lot of functionality, but the two things that really stand out for me is Radar, which I'll talk about in a minute, and the other one is custom app settings, application settings where an application is not so straightforward and you need to do some customization to it. And that customization can then stick, and then any future versions will also use that same customization. I'll talk about that in a separate video because that's quite involved, quite detailed. So we're going to on a longer video next time. But today's focus is Radar. So let's give you an overview of what radar tracking is. So radar tracking is a discovery and update mechanism that extends Robopack's radar functionality by regularly detecting and patching manual installed software across the your Intune managed environment. With radar tracking enabled, you no longer need to launch manual scans or maintain static deployment groups. Everything happens behind the scenes every 24 hours. So how does radar tracking work? There's a few points. So automated 24-hour scans, which I've just mentioned, but radar performs a tenant-wide scan every 24 hours, identifying both Intune managed apps and manually installed apps on endpoints. And that's really key because a lot of customers that we see have applications all over the place, different versions that are not all managed by Intune or all managed by an MDM solution or something like that. You get a lot of manual installs. You see this all the time, and keeping those manual installs patched and up to date is, it's not an easy task. And this is where Radar solves that problem. Scan cache. So each scan is cached essentially. The result is cached. So automations refer to the latest data without rescanning on every run. Dynamic groups. So deployment groups are dynamic. Membership reflects the most recent scan data. So for example, devices with an outdated version. And automated patch deployment. When radar tracking is included in a patch flow, as an example, any detected out-of-date installations are automatically updated to the latest approved version. Some benefits of radar. As I've mentioned, hands-off maintenance, so no more manual scans. Patch updates occur automatically based on the daily discovery. Dynamic targeting, so deployment groups update in real time to include only devices needing the patch. We reduce the overhead as well, so cache scan results eliminate redundant scans, which is basically speeding up each run. And consistent compliance. This is obviously one of the key things. This is where you ensure all manually installed software stays up to date without intervention. So Robopack handles that for us automatically. So there's a few things I'm going to show here. So let's just assume that you know a piece of software is installed in your environment, but you're not quite sure who's got it, those sorts of things. So let's have a look at, let's just choose something at random. Let's just choose OBS Studio. It should be fine. We're going to set up a Robopack patch flow. Let's do that now. Yeah, we'll leave that as that's fine. Yeah, it's fine. I'll just do some basic settings here. That's okay. Let's create the flow. Okay, so that's our first part of the flow done. We're going to add a deployment wave. So what's always a good idea, always good practice, is to use a pilot group. Really useful, and I would say key, because you don't want to deploy software straight out to end user devices without going through some sort of pilot phase. So I always recommend that's a good idea. I'm just going to put this down to, so after the pilot phase, let's just put down 1 day before it gets deployed anywhere else. Now what we can also do now is add another wave, but we're going to let Robopack create the group for us, just a required group. So let's just do that. So it's going to create a group called Robopack OBS Studio required. That's fine. Now, what I'm going to do here is now turn on the radar tracking, because what we want to do is, we don't actually really, this can be just an empty group, because the key, what we're trying to solve here is we want to get deployed to some test devices, which is fine. But we know some people in the company have got OBS Studio, but they're all on different versions, as an example. Well, radar tracking, we enable it with Wave 2. Wave 2, again, as I said, we're not interested in putting devices or anything in this group, so leave it empty, it's fine. But radar tracking is the key here. So as it's auto, what it will actually do, if I click on manual for a second, you'll see here that it's going to create this group for us. And Robopack will take care of the devices and put them into this group essentially here, and automatically patch OBS Studio to the latest version on any targeted device within the organization. So again, we don't have to worry about who's got it, what version, because this will take care of it all for us. And what I would simply do now is I would save and start the deployment, and off that will go. And the other part of Radar, which is over here, if we click on Radar, we can see all the apps that Radar has detected in the scans that it's done. Let's just go and have a look at something like, oh, there we go. So we've got, let's just pick on something like runtime. So we've got, some devices, different versions. So we can basically just do the same thing again. We can add that to a patch flow. We can do the same again. Pause, create the flow, and we can do a existing group, like our pilot devices group. We can then do our dummy group, or essentially an empty group for wave 2. Do a new group there as example. You get the idea. Yeah. Can make here as an example, create that wave, do our existing wave. Give that a buffer, I don't know, a couple of days. Turn on Radar. And if I hit save and start deployment, that will make sure that the latest version of the Windows Desktop Runtime is not only deployed to pilots, you can make sure it's okay, but it will also go off then and patch this automatically for any desktop runtime, this particular version that it picks up, and it'll make sure that the older versions are automatically patched to 8.0.25. That's the example. So as you can see, really, really powerful feature, fantastic feature for making sure that apps are completely up to date and patched within the organization, whether that's come from an MDM solution, Intune, manual installs. This is just one of the coolest features on Robopack, and this is why Robopack is, in my eyes, one of the leaders in this space. So I hope you found that useful. I know I've gone over that pretty quickly, but if you want to see anything more in detail, want me to explain anything more, just leave a comment in the description below, and I'll do my best to cover anything else that I may have missed, or if there's any other topic you want me to cover, then just let me know, and I'll do that. Next video is going to be quite a lot longer one, because I want to talk about, as I mentioned at the outset of this video, is I want to talk about on the next one more about applications, deploying applications with custom settings. When applications are a bit more complicated to install than just MSIs and EXEs, but with lots more functionality behind it, like keys and special registry settings, those sorts of things, and even PSADT PowerShell scripts. So we'll talk about that in the next video, and I hope you enjoyed this one. Thanks very much, and see you soon.